Plasticity waste management is house up in the presumably untouched desert of the Norse Arctic, scientists tell. Researchers are especially worried on enormous concentrations of microplastic patchy in sea ice pack. They say they've found plasticity garbage nearly anywhere in the Arctic they include looked. Norse fishermen are concerned how their minnow stocks may miss their repute for creature pristine by contamination. Largest of the big plasticity waste management down there comes of thrown fishery pinion. And ship owners recognize it will get hundreds of years to surmount a few foolish many decades of with the sea as a dumping. Norway's environmental secretary says political community in the history refuge T completely recorded the degree of the issue. A fusion paper of the Norse Arctic Institution to the latter Arctic Frontiers meeting in Troms says down there's a large requirement for more than study in the degree of probable damage of plasticity. It says effects include been controlled so far on zooplankton, invertebrates, minnow, seabirds, and mammals. Study shows how up to 234 suspended particles include been found concentration in fair 1 liter of molten Arctic sea ice pack. How's lot high rather than in the outdoor sea? Researchers' explanation how sea ice forms of the upper. By unhappy overlap, plasticity suspended particles as well swim at the shallow, so they get bound in the ice as it freezes. They are not yet certainly how lot of a risk the presence. But they are concerned on the effect on Arctic living nature if the suspended particles are liberated as sea ice continues to decrease. At the end of the 1970s we found really few plasticity in their stomachs. In 2013 while we recent studied, several had more than rather than 200 trimming of plasticity in their stomachs. Some creatures are received tangled in nets cleaned up on beaches, love caribou. Several die since they can't produce their antlers, we discover them each year. He told in southern Norway contamination was dominated by plastic of the household, but in Svalbard 80% of it comes of fishery activities, regional and remote. Surveys propose how fishery crews are more aware of their responsibilities currently. January Roger Lerbucht, officer of Hermes Fishery in Troms said me, in the history 20 year I've seen a changing in knowledge in all to defending the environmental fishery has been in our heart for thousands of year. If down there's any ecological risk to the minnow he's as well a risk to their livelihood and how's a big anxiety. We include a repute for a clean food and we don't wish how corrupt. He coordinated how trawler crews utilized to cast entangle nets overside, but says they back them to harbor. He says they as well save plasticity garbage they capture, by a schema named Fishery for Garbage. More than crews are with document packing and driving off of plasticity ribbon, he told. But on a brief go on a plasticity-strewn bathing beach in Skulsfjord close Troms, I found precise testimony of fishery rigging yet creature intentionally cut off. And in the outdoor water supply, phantom nets are lightweight to discover. Bo Ida, an environmental advisor for Troms Justice, conducts garbage picking on the beaches. Human beings see the pictures in brochures of the untouched Arctic and they volume their holidays to go there, he tells me. They're occasionally quite stunned to discover how the Arctic in shut up is no much longer how it looks in the brochures. This should be a urge for activity. He's been named on for year, but the significance of it hasn't been undertaken in as it should include bin. We must halt the plasticity contamination. Researchers say down there's been no systemic microplastics examination of all components of the Arctic. They expect to make up and stock taking potential in the assist of individual scientists.